Welcome to EMTalk. These are the true stories of saving lives from the people who saved them. This episode, Haunted Happenings. True scary stories for fall. Here to discuss saving lives is licensed paramedic, your host, Juddson Smith.
Hello, this is Juddson Smith, and welcome to this spooky episode of EMTalk. As you know, it is my favorite month, October, and we have focused our October episodes to all things spooky. We had an episode with our horror expert, Zachary Keene, talking about gore in horror and analyzing whether or not these things are realistic or really just fun to talk about is really what they were. And today we are in a very special location. You'll notice this isn't our usual backdrop. Today we are in the Swenson House, which if you look it up in Abilene, Texas, you'll find out more about it, but we'll tell you more about this house later. But it is all decked out for Halloween. They have this huge Halloween party here, and it's on this tour of Haunted Abilene, and it just looks great, and I can't wait to show you guys this house later. But today we are going to be telling spooky stories, and I'm going to be telling spooky stories to my guest, who is Brooklyn Rhodes. And Brooke, I'll let you introduce yourself and tell them who you are.
Yeah, so I'm Brooke, and I work at Axon, and I'm the clinical coordinator. I've been in EMS for a little over 4 years, and I've lived here for about 5 years or so. So I've never been here before, so it's pretty cool.
And I've lived here like 35 years and I've never been here. And if I have, it certainly didn't look like this. So it's not sparking any memory for me. So Brooke and I met. I worked a random shift on an ambulance one day, and we ended up, all we did was work a football game. And we went the whole football game. We had one little incident where we had to like check on a kid in the band, and then we thought it was all done. And then we ended up being there for another hour dealing with the kid from the band. And then we were at the ER, and it ended up taking the whole night. So it was a fun shift. And after that, I decided I'm going to hire Brooke and take her away from this world of pain and put her at Axon Education's Texas EMS school. And Brooke has been with us ever since. So, Brooke, first off, I'm going to give you a scale 1 to 5, and I'm going to tell these stories, and then you are going to rate them on that scale, 5 being the scariest thing you've ever heard in your life. Well, let's say 5 being very scary, because some of them could be, you could have multiple 5s, and I don't want you to be like, oh, I can't name this one a 5, because what if the next one's worse? Or they may all be 1s. I don't know. I don't know what your tolerance for scary is. So we'll see. My kids thought they were pretty scary. That's all I know. And so I've gathered all these different stories from different things that have happened all over the U.S. Some of them are considered to be true. Some of them are just considered to be stories that people came up with. But all of them are pretty short. They won't take very long. And then I have some information about Haunted Abilene, about the things in Abilene that we would say are haunted. So if you live in Abilene, this is a very special episode because there are things that are super relevant to you here in Abilene. So we're going to get started with this episode by talking about, have you ever encountered anything that you would say is haunted?
Not really. I mean, I've heard stories, but I mean, you know, I've never really seen anything to really like convince me.
Okay. So like when you say that you've heard stories, like just heard stories about, oh, there's a ghost at this place, or like things like that. Yeah.
Like, you know, different EMS. Oh, this certain station is haunted or something like that. Or you go in a house and, oh, I hear the ghosts, but I never heard any ghosts.
And I feel like in EMS, we're around enough death that if there's something haunted, we would be aware of it at this point.
Yeah. And I mean, and I heard other EMS people like at some of the stations, you know, and it's kind of interesting. They're like, oh, we had blankets ripped off or something. And I mean, I haven't gone and stayed there, but.
Which stations? What are you talking about?
They said there's one in Brownwood that one of the EMS stations there.
I'll tell you what, next year I'll spend the night at that station and we'll record it. We'll call it 12 hours in the haunted station or something. I ain't scared of no ghost, or I'm not afraid of no ghosts. Is that how it goes for the Ghostbusters? I ain't afraid of no ghosts. That's what it is. There it is. You ever seen the Ghostbusters?
I mean, I've seen like, was it the first? I forget how many there are, but like what, the first one or two, like old, like OG ones?
Like 5 of them now.
I haven't seen any of the new ones.
Oh, well, they're okay. It feels different, though. It doesn't feel like the old school Ghostbusters movies, but I guess that's because they're not. So my brother was obsessed with the Ghostbusters growing up. He had like the firehouse and the Ecto, what was it called? The Ecto 1 or whatever was the car that they were in, and all this other stuff. And he just kept that stuff forever. Every time I'd go in the attic was just all this Ghostbusters stuff up there. So it was really popular before you were born.
See, that was one of the movies my dad was just like, you know, I watched because my dad made us, you know, it's like, was it the different John Wayne movies and everything, you know, it was always something.
I'm just so glad my dad didn't make me watch John Wayne movies. Not going to lie. And that's a really unpopular opinion probably, but I just not for me.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. So you've never experienced anything that you would say is haunted. I can't say that I really have either. I want it to be real. It sounds really cool and I like spooky stuff. So it sounds something like right up my alley, but I can't say that I've ever experienced anything that I would say is haunted. But
it's one of those things where it's like, I want it to happen so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think it'd just be cool.
Yeah. Where's the ghost at? I want to see a ghost.
Like, haunt me.
Come to my house and haunt me. I dare you. Let's go.
Like, we could be friends.
Yeah. I don't know that it works out that way very often. Well, I mean, I guess if I don't believe it, it doesn't work out at all, does it? So maybe after these spooky stories, you will be a believer. Have you ever been camping?
I have.
And do you ever like to tell ghost stories around the campfire? Yeah. You ever done that before?
I was in Girl Scouts and everything.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we went camping all the time.
I was in Boy Scouts, way dorkier version of Girl Scouts. Actually, I don't know.
Well, my brother was Boy Scout, so I went on both.
Okay, good. So I'm going to start with a true story that happened to me. I told this story. I called in and told this story on Hip Hop Nation, which is a satellite radio hip hop station, and it was on Sway in the morning. And I was on my way back from an ambulance shift, and they were asking for ghost stories or scary stories. So I called in to talk about this scary story. And when I was doing this, it was pretty creepy. It made the hair stand up on my arms. But here's the story. Okay, so I like to go hiking, or I used to, and when I was less fat and more athletic, and I like to take pictures. So one time I went hiking, and I was by myself. I took all these pictures, and everything was good, and found a place to camp. Decided to go to sleep. I had taken, I don't know, like hundreds of pictures, maybe 1,000 pictures. I don't know. It was a lot of pictures. And so I go in there. All my equipment goes in the tent with me because I don't know if it's going to rain or anything. And so I go to sleep. I wake up the next morning, and I pack up my stuff and head back down to my car, and going to pack up and leave. And I sit in the car for a minute, and I start looking through the pictures. I start noticing some pictures that I don't remember taking. And I'm like, this is weird. These are all at night. Like, I don't remember taking any pictures at night. And all of a sudden, there's a picture of me sleeping on the camera.
That's weird.
Yeah, isn't it? So either somebody was going to murder me and chose not to, or ghost.
Or, you know, illogical is just somebody just think about doing that just for fun.
That's a pretty big risk to take for fun.
I mean,
what if I woke up?
I mean,
how do you explain yourself in that situation?
It would be still pretty freaky. Like, regardless of like why they did it, like if it was a person, like still really freaky.
It is pretty creepy. None of that's true, but it is really creepy. So, but Sway in the morning thinks it was true. So don't tell. Because now I'm a member of Sway Nation, or Hip Hop Nation. All right, so I've got these stories, And a lot of research went into this. So, but they're not my stories. I didn't write them. When I can, I'll give credit where credit's due, but most likely I won't give credit where credit's due. So you're going to listen and then we'll talk about it and you tell me what you think of the stories. Okay. All right. So this one's called the Axe Murder House. The Valeska Axe Murder House in Valeska, Iowa is a well-known tourist attraction for ghost hunters and horror lovers alike. The site of a gruesome unsolved 1912 murder in which 6 children and 2 adults had their skulls completely crushed by the axe of an unknown perpetrator was purchased in 1994, restored to its 1912 condition, and converted into a tourist destination. It costs $428 a night to stay at the old haunted home, where visitors always report strange paranormal experiences, such as visions of a man with an axe roaming the halls or the faint screams of children. But in November of 2014, the haunting took a darker turn. Robert Stephen Lawrenson Jr., 37, of Rhinelander, Wisconsin, was on a regular recreational paranormal visit with friends when true horror struck. His companions found him stabbed in the chest, an apparently self-inflicted wound, called 911, and Lauren was brought to a nearby hospital before being helicoptered to Creighton University Medical Center in Omaha. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office said Lawrenson suffered the self-inflicted injury at about 12:45 a.m., which is around the same time the 1912 axe murders in the house began. Lawrenson recovered from his injuries, but has never spoken publicly about what occurred that day. For Martha Lynn, the owner of the house, the incident was very upsetting. It's publicity, but it's not the kind of publicity you desire to have. I don't want people thinking that when they come to the Valeska Axe Murder House, something's going to happen that's going to make them do something like that. The house remains open for tourist visits and overnight stays today. Creepy, not creepy.
I'd say maybe like a 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think that one's very creepy.
And it's almost, you consider like, okay, where's the pattern to it?
Yeah, it only happened once.
And it's dependent on like the ghosts is, can ghosts actually like move things and touch things and hurt people? Or you think they're just there?
I mean, if we're going to say that ghosts are real, I guess we could say that ghosts can do whatever they want, right?
But like, I guess stabbing you, but the knife or whatever is like real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why couldn't they grab a knife?
I don't know. I mean,
what is a ghost made of?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
I think like watching Casper or somebody, like they fly through walls, or do they get to choose when they like?
He makes pancakes.
Yeah, but like, do they choose when they get to like interact with solid items?
I guess. I don't know. It sounds like being a ghost is a lot better than being a human.
I think there's a lot of practicalities that would need to be worked out for that one.
I've never heard somebody try to logically break down how a ghost works.
I've thought about these, and the whole axe. I don't think it's a very efficient way to.
This is what I wanted to talk about. You told me earlier that you don't feel like an axe is an efficient way to kill people. Why is it not?
I just feel like it's a lot of work. I went axe throwing and it was a workout. I get that's throwing, but still the movement and depending on the size, the weight behind it, I feel like, chopping a tree, it takes a little bit. I feel like I could run a little bit quicker than someone carrying an axe trying to swing it, because you kind of have to have some stability to swing an axe.
Well, I mean, if I knock you over and then just chop you once in the head, you're probably going to be dead, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
You're having to think whether or not that would kill you.
But that's if you have a pinned down target. I feel like if someone's just chasing me with an axe, like I feel like I have some pretty good odds.
Okay, so what would you say is the most efficient weapon to kill with?
I think like a gun would be pretty efficient.
Okay.
I don't know if I can say that on here, but
yeah, you can. I guess that makes sense. Okay, so the gun is the most efficient weapon to kill with. Got it. Now that we have that on record, you're in trouble one day. All right, moving on.
I haven't thought about it, just saying.
Okay. You came up with that answer pretty quick. I don't know.
I mean, maybe poison. How about that? Throw a little bit of...
That's not efficient. What if you don't get enough poison?
Oh, I think
I guess you could go overboard and do a lot of it. There's a story in here about poisoning.
All right.
It's going to be great. Okay, this one's called The Deadly Exorcism. It's pretty short. In August 2016 in North London, 26-year-old Kennedy Ife began acting strange and aggressive following a pain in his throat. He reportedly bit his father, threatened to cut off his own arm, and complained of a python or snake inside of him before his family restrained him to the bed with cable ties and excessive force. BBC reported that the family then set about attempting to cure Kennedy through restraint and prayer over the next 3 days, the court was told. His brother, Colin Ife, told police, "It's clear that thing was in him. What we believed was a demon because it was not natural. It was clearly trying to kill him," he said. "We had to restrain him for himself. It was clear if we didn't restrain him, he could have tried to harm people in our family." Kennedy Ife had been bound to his bed for 3 days without medical attention when his brother called emergency services explaining that Kennedy Ife was complaining of dehydration. Duh. He appeared to have developed breathing issues and was pronounced dead at 10:17 a.m. While police were at the house, Colin Ife allegedly carried out an attempted resurrection by chanting and praying for Mr. Ife. All 7 of Kennedy Ife's family members were accused of manslaughter, false imprisonment, and causing or allowing the death of a vulnerable adult. A post-mortem examination revealed over 60 wounds, including a possible bite on Kennedy Ife's body, and his father, Kenneth Ife, along with 4 of his brothers, sustained injuries as well. Kenneth Ife told jurors he ordered his sons to take shifts and use overwhelming force, but denied that an association with occult and secret societies played any part in the death. They were found not guilty and released on March 14th, 2019. So, creepy, not creepy. That's the start of that.
I'd say not creepy. Like, I feel like, towards one, so the family's the one that had the wounds.
He did, the dead body.
Okay. So it sounded like the dude just needed some help.
Probably so.
And they just tied him down and, just left him.
Yeah, so there's a dangerous line where we assume that everything bad happening with somebody has something to do with a demon. It seems like it happens in every movie. Oh, they're acting crazy. They must have a demon. Some people are just crazy.
Yeah, or, you think of a baby or something, when they cry, sometimes that's just how they express themselves. They don't know how to deal with their emotions.
It sounds very much like you're comparing a demon-possessed human to a baby.
I'm just saying, there's he could have acted out for a reason. Maybe he had a reason to bite somebody,
Probably because they tied him up.
Yeah, I'd probably bite somebody too if they try to cable tie me.
So that one was a true story. So that one really happened. They really did that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, if my family tried that, I'd bite them hard.
Yeah.
They'd never do it again, I'll tell you that much. Okay, next one. Yeah, I agree. That one's not very creepy. Okay, the ghost of the Stanley Hotel. So the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado has been around for more than 100 years and was built as a posh getaway for the wealthy seeking solitude in the mountains. As the years passed, however, occupancy declined, and by the 1970s, the Grand Hotel had fallen into despair. It was around that time that famed author Stephen King spent the night there and was inspired to write the book The Shining. The book and blockbuster film helped return the Stanley to its former glory. Now guests come in droves to see the hotel that inspired one of the scariest horror movies of all time. Given its history, it should come as no surprise that many visitors report strange happenings. Aware of the ghostly rumors, Texas resident Henry Yao booked a last-minute getaway in April of 2016 to check it out. After arriving, Yao had dinner, then wandered around the Stanley to take photos. Stopping at the staircase, he waited for people to clear the area, then took a picture, thinking nothing of it. Later that night, however, Yao fell seriously ill. "I felt really sick. I had the shivers. I was like, something's really wrong here," he tells Today.com. His companion suggested he go to the emergency room, but Yao refused. On the trip home, Yao began swiping through the photos he'd taken when he discovered what he said was a really, really strange image of someone standing on the stairs, except no one had been there. The next day, he posted the photo on Instagram, half joking that he'd captured a ghost, and the world took notice. Almost overnight, Yao found himself in the limelight, with the ghost picture warranting attention from global media and paranormal experts who wanted to examine the photo. Some experts say that there's two ghosts, and other people said that the reason I got sick is because the ghost was trying to materialize, taking energy out of me. He said there's so many theories about this. Okay, creepy, not creepy.
Well, it's a little creepy.
We are not getting any kind of creepies out of you.
I mean, I say like 3.5. Like, I think it'd be pretty weird. Like, you swear it's not there. I feel like it'd more make me feel like I'm going crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you think if I look at the picture I took of the staircase later on and there's like a figure on it, that'd be pretty creepy.
Yeah.
That'd be weird. Have you seen The Shining?
I have not.
Okay, you should watch it. It's a good movie. Scariest of all time, I don't know.
Is it the one with the two like twin girls? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I've seen like bits and parts.
Oh, everybody's seen like pieces of it because it's used all over the place, but it's pretty good. The story's really cool. So, the Jack Nicholas, is that who's in that? Is it Nicholas or Nicholson? Nicholson. Yeah, Jack Nicholson. I always get him confused with the golfer. He's pretty crazy in that movie. It's pretty bad. All right, moving on. We got to find something creepy for you. Lizzie Borden, I'm sorry, we're not reading you.
You have clown stories? Those are creepy.
You like clowns?
I don't like clowns.
Oh, I don't have any clown stories. I wish I'd known that before we came.
I got chased by a clown before, man. It was not
like
fun.
A real clown?
I was at a festival and he was trying to give me a sticker. And I was like, oh no. And then he kept following me and I was like 6 and yeah, I don't do clowns.
Oh, you were a kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I've seen some scary clown movies. Like,
Halloween is going to suck this year for you, just so you know.
I shouldn't have said anything.
Nope.
I might be sick that day.
No, you will not. That's KB's birthday. All right. This one is called Who's in My Bed? A father went to say goodnight to his 7-year-old son, very well knowing that if he didn't, his son would have trouble sleeping. It was a nightly routine between them. He entered the dimly lit room where his son waited under his blanket. With the first glance, the father could tell there was something unusual about his son tonight, but couldn't put his finger on it. He looked the same, but had a grin that drew from ear to ear. You okay, buddy? The father asked. The son nodded, still with the grin, before saying, Daddy, check for monsters under my bed. The father chuckled a bit before getting on his knees to check, only to satisfy his son. There, under the bed, pale and afraid, was his son, his real son. He whispered, Daddy, there's someone on my bed.
See, I've heard this one, and that one's creepy. I give that one like a 4.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so
there we go.
That's a
So real life scary things, not scary. Fake things, very scary.
Well, like, what do you do?
You kill both of them.
It's a little extreme, but like, yeah, you're sitting there, like looking under the bed, like, or like, I don't know. That's a weird situation.
I guess what is the thing in the bed?
Yeah, and why do he tell you to look for under the bed? He like want to throw you off, and then he's gonna kill you both. Like,
yeah, why would he give himself away?
I mean, I'd be pretty freaked out. Like if my kid was under the bed or something and looked up, and it's like, oh, we're done. We're both dead. That's it.
I would just go under the bed too.
Yeah, like that's it. I'll just lay down.
Maybe we're safe under there.
I'm not fighting.
Get under the bed. Please don't come under here. Like, next, the mom comes in, then she's under the bed.
Like, I live here now.
Yeah, this is my home. Great. Okay, good. I'm glad that one was creepy. Here we go. This one's called The Cabin. A hiker decided to go on a hike by himself, something he was not very used to. The whole day was normal. Trees and bushes engulfed his surroundings. He enjoyed being outdoors in the mountains. Nothing seemed strange to him, that was, until he was making his way back to his car. He figured an 8-hour hike was good enough, the sky was already getting dark, and he needed to get back fast. What was odd was how much he didn't recognize the trail back. He began to panic. Night had already taken over, and all he had was a flashlight and no clue on how to get back. He knew it was already too late and too dangerous to keep going through the perilous forest. He began to worry that he would have no shelter for the night when, almost luckily enough, he stumbled across a broken-down cabin. It was dark and seemed like no one had visited it in years, but he knew it was the only place where he could rest until daylight, especially since his flashlight was running out of battery. He knocked on the door a few times, but no one answered. So he let himself in where, strangely enough, a perfect bed fitted for one person awaited him in the center. He knew that if the owner came back, he could explain himself. He was sure that the owner wouldn't mind, or was even probably dead. So he went ahead and got himself comfortable in bed. As he tried to sleep, he couldn't ignore the collection of paintings around the room, portraits of strange-looking people all peering at him, each wearing a smile that sent chills up his spine. Not too long after his exhaustion from the hike got the best of him, he was able to ignore the faces and fall asleep. The next morning, he got up early and was shocked to see that there were no paintings around the room, only windows. Creepy? Not creepy. Do you get it?
I do. That's creepy.
I mean, that would be pretty weird.
Yeah.
Because then it means everybody's watching you.
Yeah, and it's like, who were they? Like the fact that they looked like paintings, you know?
Well, I mean, like, you got to think you're in the dark and you've never been in this place, and you just look around and you see what look like paintings because windows are just square frames. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, this is weird. Just a bunch of faces painted and smiling and looking.
Yeah. And as weird as it sounds, like even trying to find like the logic in it, it's like a group of people just go stare at people through the window. Like that's weird. That is creepy.
That did nothing else but watch him.
I think that's the worst part. You know, it's like some of those stories where it's like, oh, like someone gets like stabbed or anything, but it's like the ones that just sit and watch. I think that's just because at any point, like, have you ever just felt where it's like someone's watching me, but there's no one else with you?
Yeah, I felt that way before.
Like, I think that's just like more unsettling. It's just like not knowing.
That's being in the forest and walking around by yourself is creepy enough all on its own, especially if you're somewhere you've never been before. But then you find this one who goes in a random cabin they find out in the middle of the woods anyways.
Yeah, I feel like, why'd you put yourself in that position first off?
Yeah, you surely know that some kind of crazy something was going to happen at that point.
There's Airbnbs everywhere. Like, you could have booked something that was totally normal.
He jumps on his phone and books an Airbnb right there.
I mean...
Oh, shoot, here it is. It's right around this tree.
I mean, check out the reviews, you know. Make sure they're a super host.
Be careful. The paintings are not paintings. They're windows.
Ooh, see? That would have been a helpful review.
Yeah. I'll make sure to leave those when I get Airbnbs. Watch out for the paintings. Okay, this one's called the red wristband. A doctor was working at a hospital where the patients were tagged with colored bands, green alive, red deceased. One night, the doctor was instructed to get a few supplies from the basement of the hospital, and so he headed to the lift. A lift is an elevator.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's fancy. The lift doors opened and there was a patient inside, minding her own business. Patients were allowed to roam around the hospital to stretch, especially those who had been staying long. The rule was to go back to their rooms before 10. The doctor smiled at the patient before pressing the number for the basement. He found it unusual that the woman didn't have a button already pressed. He wondered if she was heading to the basement too. The lift finally reached the floor where the doors opened. In the distance, a man was limping towards the elevator, and in a panic, the doctor slammed the elevator button to close. It finally did, and the lift began to ascend back up, the doctor's heart pounding. Why did you do that? He was trying to use the lift, the woman stated, annoyed. Did you see his wrist? The doctor asked. It was red. He died last night. I would know. I did his surgery. The woman lifted her wrist. He saw red. She smiled. Like this one?
That's a little creepy. I mean, I would not want to work at that hospital. Yeah, the fact that you have to label alive or dead patients, like...
I've never had to do that.
I feel like it's pretty obvious.
Usually, yeah.
But I think expecting the obvious and standing there and it's like, oh, I have a red wristband, like, a little bit weird. I think like the fact that he knew the other guy, that's pretty creepy. I would have, nope, done.
So
turn in my badge.
Does that mean that the lady and the other guy were ghosts?
Ghosts? Zombies?
It's like the calmest zombie ever.
Either way,
hey.
Either way, they shouldn't be there.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I think regardless, I mean, I'm not going to ask for identification at that point. That's just going to, go ahead and put my badge down and see myself out.
Ma'am, can you tell me who you are, please? Okay. Okay. Well, this one's not creepy, but it's interesting. The Old Man in the Well. Keith was 12 the first time he found the old man in the well, and he spoke to him. Keith was out playing after dark on the family's small farm near the well. The old well had beams supporting a rope and pulley with a bucket attached, even though Keith was told that well ran dry before he was born. Suddenly, he heard someone say his name in a slow, raspy voice. Keith whirled around and saw no one. A look of confusion spread across his face as he heard it again. Keith! This time, it was said with more voice and a bit louder. The voice sounded like one of the old farmers who liked to smoke, thought Keith. Looking down the well, he heard the same voice asking, "Have you got anything tasty?" Keith couldn't see anything past the first 12 or so feet down the well, even though it was a full moon. "Who are you? How did you get down there?" Keith asked. "If you give me something tasty, I'll reward you," replied the voice. All Keith had were some cookies he had stuffed in his pocket as he left to play. He put those in the bucket and it was lowered it. He put those in the bucket and lowered it. He had lowered it nearly 40 feet and was literally at the end of his rope when he had no longer felt the weight of the bucket on the rope. 20 seconds passed and he felt the weight of the bucket again and began to pull it up. As he finished pulling the bucket up to the top, he heard the voice say, "No, nice." Keith saw a reflection in the bucket and saw a rectangular piece of silver metal about the size of an army dog tag. It was completely flat and smooth. "Want fresh," the voice said. Even though Keith tried to talk the old man again, there was no response. Keith made up a story about where he found the metal and took it to his father, who took it into town and confirmed it was an ounce of pure silver. After that, Keith kept it a secret. It took a while to discover that the old man was only there the night of full moons. Keith quickly learned that only live things he put in the well would be rewarded, but only once for each item and once every full moon. So one of each kind of animal was lowered down the well and rewarded. Keith now had a cigar box mostly full of silver pieces by the time he was 16, but had run out of different animals to get rewarded for. It was around this time that a local farmhand went missing. It was also the same time that Keith was rewarded with gold pieces for the first time. Once Keith took over the farm, temp workers seemed to vanish every now and then without explanation from the farm. The old man had finally found something tasty enough to always reward.
So the old man in the well turned Keith into a murderer.
Yes, yeah. That's
It's like a hitman.
a really creepy one, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if someone talked to me from a well, I don't think I would entertain that.
Yeah, I don't feel like I would be like, "Oh yeah, let me throw something down there, buddy."
I mean, but I've also been broke before. So, I mean.
So a little bit of murder, no big deal.
I mean, but the well is doing it.
But what is the old man doing in the
I don't
well?
know. Does it get crowded in there?
With all the dead animals and
Yeah.
stuff? I assume he's eating the dead animals.
Even the bones?
I mean, he's living in a well. What else has he got to do?
Why only full moons?
That's
Werewolf kind of vibe?
How is he still alive? I don't know that we're meant to analyze this to this point. I think that kind of makes it hard to understand.
I think Keith is more creepy than the old man in the well.
Yeah, I would think so too. Like, he's just okay with
I can
this.
ignore the well. We can board that up. But Keith has a problem.
He's just like, you know what? Sure, I'll start putting live animals. And the guy never told him to do that.
No, it was a trial and error. He's like, let's see what happens.
And then one day he was like, let's see what happens when I put a human down here.
Yeah, why not?
That is pretty creepy.
Yeah.
This should be labeled Keith the Creep. All right, on to the next one. This one's called The Farmhouse. When my sister Betsy and I were kids, our family lived for a while in a charming old farmhouse. We loved exploring this dusty corners and climbing the apple tree in the backyard, but our favorite thing was the ghost. We called her Mother because she seemed so kind and nurturing. Some mornings, Betsy and I would wake up. On each of our nightstands, we'd find a cup that hadn't been there the night before. Mother had left them there, worried that we'd get thirsty during the night. She just wanted to take care of us. Among the house's original furnishings was an antique wooden chair, just like this one, which we kept against the back wall of the living room. Whenever we were preoccupied watching TV or playing a game, Mother would inch the chair forward across the room toward us. Sometimes she'd manage to move it to the center of the room. We always felt sad putting it back against the wall. Mother just wanted to be near us. Years later, long after we'd moved out, I found an old newspaper article about the farmhouse's original occupant, a widow. She'd murdered her 2 children by giving them each a cup of poisoned milk before bed. Then she'd hanged herself. The article included a photo of the farmhouse's living room with a woman's body hanging from a beam. Beneath her, knocked over, was the old wooden chair placed exactly in the center of the room. Creepy? Not creepy.
What's creepy?
That one's creepy.
That one's, I think, like you hear stories of, hauntings and stuff, and it's, like animals can sense them, or like kids. Kids are real creepy with it.
Kids are just creepy altogether.
Yeah, or like you're having a conversation with the kid, and they're like, look at the corner. There's nothing in the corner.
Oh, yes, there is. There's a ghost in the corner.
Well, but we don't see that. Yeah, no, kids are creepy. And the fact that they're just like so casual, like, oh, I got a glass of water and that the chair moves, but like,
yeah, not a big deal.
Yeah.
This happens to me all the time.
Like, how is that a normal thing?
That's probably, again, another instance where maybe the people in the story are creepier than the actual ghost.
Yeah. I mean, the ghost has problems too on this one.
Yeah, I mean, she killed her kids.
And then herself, and then she kept moving the chair back. Like, there's one scary movie, and they call the ghost Mother, and you finally see like her at the end, and she's trying to convince the kids to like jump off a cliff with her, and then the real mom steps in and like tries to save them and shoves Mother off because she didn't believe the kids that there is like this ghost. That's what it kind of reminds me of. It's like almost like that power battle of like she wanted new kids to come with her.
That's pretty creepy.
Like,
what is this movie called?
I'd have to figure.
Is
I don't
it called
remember.
Mother? I don't think it is.
I don't think so. I'd have to look it up.
You're gonna have to find this because I'm creeped out now.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's what that reminds me of, and yeah, it's.
That sounds like a better story than the one I just read.
It's like a 2-hour movie, but
I'll watch it.
Oh yeah, I got you.
You mean it has more detail than my?
Yeah, but no, that it is pretty creepy. I think like it's still the unknown of like not being able to see something or just something's watching you. I don't like that. That makes me feel.
Now I'm worried that something's watching.
I know, and you look over your shoulder. I'm like, wait a minute.
This is getting scary. I'm just scared being here. Okay, this one's called Under the Bed. This
the air conditioner turned on.
No, if it gets cold when ghosts are around. Okay, Under the Bed. A young boy is sleeping in his bed on a usual night. He hears footsteps outside his door and peeks out of his eyes to see what is happening. His door swings open quietly to reveal a murderer carrying the corpses of his parents. After silently propping them up on a chair, he writes something on the wall in the blood of the dead bodies and then hides under the child's bed. The child is scared beyond belief. He can't read the writing on the wall, and he knows the man is under his bed. Like any child, he pretends that he slept through the whole thing and hasn't awoken yet. He lays still as the bodies quietly hearing the breaths from under his bed. An hour passes, and his eyes are adjusting more and more to the darkness. He tries to make out the words, but it's a struggle. He gasps when he finally makes out the sentence, "I know you're awake." He feels something shift under the bed. That one's creepy.
That one's, yeah. Again, just like sitting there knowing, like, you're being, even if you're not like necessarily being watched, like, he just knows. It's been like waiting. It's like the waiting game. Like, he could have hurt the kid or anything before, but no, it's just that torment.
It's kind of like one of the earlier stories. It's like now you're just stuck under the bed, but this kid, he's just stuck in his bed.
Yeah. What do you do?
He can't get up.
And what is he supposed to do? Like scream? There's nobody else.
And when does he go like, okay, so this guy knows that I'm here and he knows I'm awake. He knows I know what happened. What do I do next?
Yeah. You just lay there, or do you just kind of just like, all right, here we go, step off the bed, let it happen? Like,
just try to jump really hard and make the bed collapse onto the guy. And then when he's trying to get up, then you run.
That's when you hope for like a really poorly made bed.
Yeah. It depends on if your parents are poor or not.
So it sounds like bed frames like sound like overrated at this point. I just need like a mattress on the ground.
Yeah.
I don't think I need any room underneath my bed.
There's too many options for creepy things to happen. Okay, so this is the last of the like creepy stories that aren't about Abilene. And this is one that I had ChatGPT create about Bloody Mary. Okay. You've heard the legend of Bloody Mary. You say Bloody Mary in the mirror 3 times or whatever in the dark and something happens. So this is the story of Bloody Mary. Gather around, everyone, and let me take you on a spine-chilling journey into the legend of Bloody Mary. It's a tale passed down through generations, whispered in hushed tones around campfires or stairwells like this one. Once upon a time, in a small, fog-laden village, there lived a young woman named Mary. She was known far and wide for her beauty and grace, with long, flowing hair and a smile that could light up the darkest of days. But beauty often brings envy, and Mary was no exception. The other villagers, particularly the women, grew increasingly jealous of her charm. One fateful autumn evening, during the village's harvest festival, a terrible storm swept through. The villagers sought shelter, but not before they noticed Mary standing alone, seemingly unbothered by the raging winds. That's when the whispers began. Some claimed she was a witch, using dark magic to draw the storm upon them. Fueled by fear and jealousy, a group of villagers confronted her. They accused her of witchcraft, claiming she had cursed the village and summoned the storm. Mary, horrified and bewildered, pleaded for her innocence, but the villagers were blinded by rage. They dragged her to the edge of the woods, where an ancient oak stood, its gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. In the heart of the night, under the eerie glow of the moon, they pronounced her guilty. With tears streaming down her face, Mary cried out for mercy, but it fell on deaf ears. As they executed her, she vowed revenge, swearing that anyone who dared to summon her name would face her wrath. From that night on, whispers of her spirit began to circulate. It was said that Mary returned, her ghost haunting mirrors, seeking those who would dare to call her. The tale morphed into a ritual. If you wanted to summon her, you had to stand alone in a dark room facing a mirror. You would chant her name 3 times, and she would appear, a shadowy figure with a twisted face filled with fury and sorrow. As the years passed, brave souls began to test the legend. In the dead of night, they would gather in dimly lit bathrooms or abandoned houses, chanting her name with nervous laughter. Some claimed they saw her eyes flickering in the glass, while others heard her whisper their names, laced with a chilling sadness. One night, a group of friends decided to put the legend to the test. Armed with only a flashlight in their bravado, they ventured into an old, decrepit home rumored to be Mary's last resting place. The air was thick with anticipation as they made their way to the bathroom, the walls creaking around them. The moonlight barely illuminated the dust-covered mirror. As they gathered around, they exchanged nervous glances, the bravado quickly fading. "Are we really doing this?" one of them asked. "It's just a story, right?" But they all knew deep down that something dark lurked in the shadows. With a shaky voice, the bravest of them began, "Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary." They held their breath, waiting for something to happen. The air grew colder and the silence was palpable. Then suddenly, a chilling gust of wind swept through the room, extinguishing their flashlight. In the darkness, panic set in. They fumbled to turn the lights back on, but when they finally did, they saw it, a shadowy figure standing in the mirror, her face gaunt and twisted, eyes filled with rage and sorrow. They screamed and stumbled back, tripping over each other in their hassle to escape. But it wasn't over. As they fled the house, one of their friends, who had been the first to call her name, felt an icy grip on her arm. It pulled her back, and she turned to see Mary's face, now inches away, whispering secrets of despair. "You summoned me," the spirit hissed, her voice echoing in the night. Desperate, the friends pulled her friend free, and they ran into the night, never looking back. They never spoke of what happened that night, But from then on, they were haunted by Mary's whispers. Some nights, they would hear her name carried on the wind, a reminder of the price they paid for their bravery or foolishness. So, if you ever find yourself alone in front of a mirror, remember Mary's tale. Just 3 simple words. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. And you might just find out what awaits on the other side. But beware, once you call her, there's no turning back.
That's pretty good for an AI. Like,
yeah, I think we should just let AI write all our books.
Like,
that's interesting.
Is that the true like origin of Bloody Mary?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think it just elaborated on the story a little bit.
You know, like almost like kind of went Salem witch trial-y.
Mm-hmm. We're saying Bloody Mary in this house in a mirror, by the way.
Okay, so that was one thing when I said earlier, like, you know, haunt me. I want it to happen. This was one thing I tried so many times as a kid because I wanted to see what Bloody Mary was.
You do realize that she's supposed to kill you, right?
I mean,
what if it was real? What if you screwed up?
I mean,
you're still here, so I guess
I'm still here. So, but like, you know, I think back in elementary, junior high and stuff, like when I first heard it, it was like, oh, you're going to get like scratches on your back or something.
Yeah, that's what I always heard.
Yeah, it was like the scratches and, you know, people would come to school or, you know, oh, well, I have scratches on my back. And I'm like, that's a problem. That's a problem.
You also have a cat.
Yeah. And I'm like, so like I would sit in the bathroom. Like I did it with friends. I did it alone. I was like Bloody Mary because I was like, I want to see something cool.
This is like 7-year-old.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah.
Just like, I hope she haunts me.
Well, I just wanted to see what would happen. Like scratches will heal, right? You know, like that was my mentality.
You're crazy. I like it, but we're going to do that.
It was one of those things, you know, I just thought it'd be cool. Like I could say that I got haunted.
I got haunted by Bloody Mary.
Like I've never broken a bone. Like I want to just to say I have, you know,
I've done it and I mean, I can say I have, and it doesn't make me any better.
No, I don't think it's like necessarily cool, but yeah, like it's just that curiosity.
Well, let's see if we can summon her today. Okay. These are a couple of stories just from the local legends here, about 5-6 stories, very short. And then we are going to take a quick tour around the house. All right. So this one is about the Hotel Wooten. The Hotel Wooten. Have you heard of the Hotel Wooten?
Mm-mm.
You don't know what that is?
I don't.
It's a hotel downtown. It's an apartment building now. The Hotel Wooten was built in 1931 and known for many years as the tallest building between El Paso and Fort Worth. It closed in 1960, reopening 3 years later as the Abilene Towers Apartments. Since then, many residents and visitors at the Abilene Towers Apartments have reported paranormal encounters. One such story is of a woman dressed in the 1930s fashions who wanders the halls. Others say they've heard voices, whispers, or seen a bellhop standing by the front door late at night. And I'm not getting a creepy scale on these. These are just interesting things about Abilene. The Paramount Theater. You've been to the Paramount. The Paramount Theater was constructed in 1930 as a part of the H.O. Wooten Empire, right around the corner from the Hotel Wooten. Ooh, from our other story. They named it the Paramount to liken it to the famous motion picture studios. It is said that 3 ghosts are living within the theater. One, an elderly gentleman smoking a cigar. One, an usher who worked in the theater. And one, a woman dressed in white. Have you ever seen any ghosts at the Paramount?
I have not.
I've never looked either.
Yeah, I don't think I've really looked around.
I think I'm going to have to, maybe we need to do a paranormal investigation in the Paramount.
Are we Ghostbusters now?
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to start doing on the side.
We're going to get cool jackets and everything?
Yeah, yep. We'll start a new podcast. It's called the Buster Heads.
The Ghost Finders.
The Ghost Finders.
We're not busting them or anything. We're just going to find them and leave them alone.
The Ghost Identifiers.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, yep, there they are.
They're here. We found you. Okay, this is Minter Mansion. The Minter Mansion was built by Will and Mabel Minter in the early 1900s at 340 Beach Street. Will started his Minter dry goods store in downtown Abilene, and Mabel was his school teacher, or was a school teacher, sorry. The home remained in the family until the mid-1960s. In 1974, when the building was being remodeled to accommodate an architectural firm, the first reports of paranormal activity came in. A couple of workers working late into the night reported seeing a ghostly woman on the second floor. The 2 men fled and vowed never to return. I don't even know where this is. I mean, I know where Beach Street is.
I know where.
Do you remember seeing this house?
Does Minter cross with Beach? Or that's just They're just
that's
Minter.
just the name of it.
Okay, because there's Minter Street here too.
Yeah, there's Minter Lane.
Yeah. But then there's Beach.
Yeah. I don't know.
I might have to drive by.
Yeah. See if we can see the ghost. Okay, the Weather Bureau building, 1482 North 1st Street. A former chief meteorologist fell down the stairs and died one stormy night. Employees now report hearing someone falling, and this activity increases during severe weather. That's pretty creepy.
I feel like I'd be embarrassed as that ghost. Like, can you imagine like your worst moments just being replayed?
Great, I have to fall down forever and make this stupid sound.
Right? Like, just like, oh, here we go again.
Great, a storm.
It's 7:34, you know?
Oh, that would be funny.
So allegedly the door is outside, actually, to get down to the basement.
Really?
And that's how he had to go. So hence the weather made it treacherous for him to even go outside. But as the Weather Bureau, he had to. And when he went downstairs, of course, it was all slick and wet from the rain. And that's what the legend says.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty interesting. All right. We've got lots of buildings to explore because I only put half of these in here. Okay.
That's really interesting.
This is the last one. And this is out. I don't want to say where you live. Never mind. I already screwed it up. Okay. Ghost of Phantom Hill.
It's all right. There's lots of houses.
That's true. 30 years before the city was founded, an apparition was said to have appeared to soldiers stationed at a new fort just north of present-day Abilene. One legend holds that while soldiers were sitting around a campfire one night, they saw a tall white figure, a phantom, on the hill, one yelled out. A legend and a name for the new fort was born. Even today, the remains of Fort Phantom and the lake and cemetery that bear its name are said to be haunted by the Lady of the Lake, who searches for the shoreline for her long-lost love. A team of ghost hunters from Central Texas Ghost Search, they're trying to cut in on our territory, even set up their ghost detecting equipment at the fort on Halloween 2008. They were certain their recorders captured an otherworldly sound of a man grumbling, "Get out of here!" and a woman asking, "Why did you say that?" Oh, that sounds boring. So that's Fort Phantom Hill, the Phantom of Fort Hill.
It can be kind of creepy out there. Like, honestly, like,
oh yeah,
like there's random days, like even driving in this morning, like there was fog. And I'm like, it's out of nowhere.
Maybe probably just because the water, right?
I mean, yeah, because it'll come across the bridges and stuff, kind of like out towards the cow pastures, and it's kind of interesting, like where they accumulate.
That's weird. Well, so we could go on and on. I mean, I found thousands of stories, a couple dozen stories just about things in Abilene. It sounds like we need to do a haunted tour of Abilene because that sounds awesome.
That'd be pretty cool.
I think we're gonna have to do that someday.
Ghost finders.
Ghost finders. What a lame like group of people. We're the ghost finders.
I can make t-shirts.
Or is it just going to be regular bold print that just says Ghost Finders?
I mean, not anymore.
It's going to be black print on a white t-shirt. Ghost Finders.
I'll work a new idea.
In fact, you should make it really small too. Just like as small as you can. Ghost Finders. Anyways, we're gonna workshop the name for sure, but I think we might have to start a new paranormal investigation team.
I think that'd be a fun podcast. Like travel the city with us, like
as we find ghosts.
It's a mobile podcast.
It would be cool. We'd have to come up with a pretty good setup.
And then we can like turn the screens like a weird greenish gray color to make it really spooky.
Well, don't tell the secrets.
Oh.
That only happens when the ghosts come. Okay, so I think it's time for us to get set for our tour of the Swenson House. So we're going to break right here. Hey guys, today on EMTalk, we're at the Swenson House, and I'm with Brooke, and we're going to go in and we're going to get a tour of the historic Swenson House. Hello.
Hi, welcome to Swenson House, EMTalk.
Thank you.
Come on in.
So this is the Swenson House. As you can see, they're all decorated up, and Tina, correct?
Yes.
I will let Tina explain what's going on as she shows us around.
All right, we're going to start in the library. This was Mr. Swenson's office. And as you can see, we're decorated for Halloween, but this is his desk. And in this room right here behind the skeleton is a reading nook.
Oh, wow.
It has a lot of artifacts from all over the world that Mr. Swenson collected.
I thought this was a window back behind here.
There are mission-style windows behind there.
That's awesome. How cool. And the theme is obviously Tim Burton.
Tim Burton movies.
Super cool. Super cool.
And then we come in here, and of course, we have the mud room. When you walk in, if you were pulled up under the portico, and then you would come in through this way into the house. And that's the side door.
Oh, and that's the big screen door
Yes,
for the front.
the front screen. This is the dining room. Now, this room is really a lot different than rooms you're going to be in nowadays. If you're on one side of the room, like right here, I can talk in a really soft whisper, and you're going to hear me on the other side of the room because of the way it's shaped.
Brooke, go stand over there. I'm going to whisper. Oh, my gosh.
And then he had I can't think of it. Well, it has double paned windows, glass windows in here that are original to the house. And the radiators were custom made so that the bench stays warm. And in the winter, the family could put their Christmas tree here and the kids could sit right there on that and they would stay warm during the
So
winter.
all that down there is radiators.
Those are radiators. This is the north wall, so it's going to be cold,
Wow.
but it would stay warm.
This is a really cool room.
This is an awesome room, and we display a lot of the china that's from their home. There is a mice and cookie jar made from the 18th century that we usually have on display right here on the table, but of course we have it put away right now.
Of course.
And Miss Swenson did a lot of painting, and we have all that put away. She painted on porcelain. He would send her something in cast, and then she would paint it and have it fired again.
Oh, wow.
And this is the butler's pantry.
Okay.
And then if you come in here, this would be the kitchen. This stove was put in 1940, so it's newer, but it's very similar. It has one of the original crock pots in it.
Whoa, that's super cool.
And we use this. The pantry is here. We can't get through to it. And this is a laundry chute. I don't know if you do.
Oh, wow.
And it goes all the way down, and I'll show you when we go upstairs. The rest
People
of
would just throw their clothes down there?
linens and things like that, they would just drop them.
Wow.
This goes to the basement.
What? That's not creepy.
And the original boiler is still down here. If you would like to go down in the basement and see it, it's very steep.
Do you
It's
want
very
to
steep.
risk the basement? I wouldn't think so. That's going to be hard holding the camera.
Yeah.
But that is really creepy and
And then the
cool.
original ice boxes.
Yes.
On the wall.
Yes, that I saw outside when we pulled up was the
And we
little
have
box for it.
Ice box
Wow.
right here.
So
And-
that's what they would use instead of refrigerator.
Yes, and the door for the ice is right outside there, and they would just drop it in.
Wow. That's pretty cool. What's that up there?
That's just storage, more storage.
That's super cool.
There's a lot of storage. Mr. Swenson was really clever when he made this house.
Did he design the whole thing?
He did, and Preston is the man that built it it was finished in 1910.
1910. Okay.
And the coal chute's actually if you look up, this is so weird. The coal chute outside is listed in the Register of 1910 Inventions.
Oh, wow.
So like he got it as soon as it came out.
That's awesome.
And this was the breakfast nook in
Okay.
here. But right here, he brought West Texas Utilities to Abilene. And this is not
We gotta go
connected,
do this.
but this is the circuit breaker that he had installed.
Wow.
And he was Citizens National Bank, West Texas Utilities, St. Paul United Methodist Church, electric rail cars.
That's
he was
cool.
quite a progressive man. And there was electricity in the house, so he did all of that. He also, this was the breakfast nook at the time. It's an office now, but we feel like it was probably just screened in all the way around, and then they enclosed it in 1928 when they remodeled the house.
Okay. And they just sit out here and feel the air and
their
eat.
breakfast would be put up there, and then they could sit here and eat at the table.
Wow.
And of course, storage under the stairs. And then this was the Swenson's phone right here.
That is not hooked up.
It is not hooked up, but it has rained before. And
That's cool.
that is
An
it.
old rotary phone.
This is just a half bath that works.
Very short ceiling.
Yes. So if you're
Brian,
tall,
you could barely go in there.
don't
It's
bump
too
your
short.
head. Right here. And the staircase goes up. This was Mrs. Swenson's room.
Is this like original furniture?
Yes, most of the
Wow.
furniture in the house is original. The radiator, of course, it's in all the rooms. There's radiators, and we usually have a different display up here, but this is Halloween, and we're decorated in The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Awesome. They wallpapered the ceiling.
Everything's wallpapered.
Wow.
Over shiplap.
Oh, wow. I bet that looks cool underneath.
We're gonna see some when we go to the living room.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, this room, this is the sunroom. And this room was added on in 1928 in the renovation. Mr. Swenson had cots for his 4 kids and himself and his wife, and they would open all the windows. And in the summer, they would lay out here, and it was nice and cool. They could get the breeze because there was no air conditioning.
Right.
And it looks out at the south lawn, which you can see the arbor normally from here and the fish pond. We do lots of weddings and stuff out there in the arbor, and some in the house.
This is cool. That explains why this room is a little warmer.
Yes, there's not any heat or air in that room.
When was heat and air added?
Well, the heat's been here all along. With the boiler room, then it was coal, and then it was natural gas. And, but the air conditioning, I'm not sure, it was here in 1980 when the house was given to the Preservation League. This is Mr. Swenson's room. And of course, Mrs. Swenson and his rooms adjoin. And we display replicas usually in this cabinet of the Preservation League historic buildings like the Paramount Theater and the TNP building where the Visitor Center is and things. We usually have those lit up in that one.
Wow. So they had adjoining rooms, so they did not sleep in the same room.
It doesn't look that way. These pictures on the wall are some Mr. Swenson took while he was in Yellowstone on vacation. They got in their car, they went to Yellowstone, and they would camp out on a farmer's property, and the next day that farmer would cook them breakfast and they would be on their way. No motels, no hotels.
That is, what a life.
Crazy.
These are
amount of
cool
trust.
pictures. Yeah. Just sleep on your property.
Yes. We have a skylight that is really pretty. It'll light up, and at night you can see it right here. It's really pretty, but during the day it doesn't show as much.
It is really nice. So it's covered though.
It is covered.
Okay.
And when the bulbs go out, they have to, like, it looks like there's one out, go in the attic and change the bulbs to that, and also the chandelier here in the middle.
Oh gosh, I bet that's scary to change.
Out here is the patio. We don't usually have guests out there because of the asphalt that's on the shingle floor out there. We don't want it to leak. So.
That's really cool. When I was younger in high school, I did roofing, and I remember doing this. We call it 100-pound roll.
Roll roof.
Yeah, we do it, and we put the hot mop on there and do it, and it was miserable.
That staircase, if you stand up here, you can see it. Miss Swenson really admired that staircase. So it is a replica of the one at the Brown Palace in Denver, Colorado. So it's a small miniature of it. But when you walk in the Brown Palace, I've been told, you think you're in the Swenson House, or if you're in the Swenson House, you think you're in the Brown House if you see both.
Oh, that's
Because it
cool.
looks just like it.
Yeah, it is really pretty.
Brides look beautiful coming down that staircase.
Sure.
Now, Earl, his Mr. Swenson's son, this was his bedroom, and it's pretty dark in here right now. But he came to live in the house. He never did marry. He was the junior. The older one was not junior. He married into the Cox department store in the Fort Worth area.
Okay.
But the younger one was Earl Swenson Jr. And this was his bathroom. We call it the pink flamingo bathroom. And what's really neat is the fixtures in the shower.
Oh, wow.
There's 5 different sprays. And for 1910, when they put those in, that was amazing. Because it cost $700 to put it in at that time period. So you can imagine what that would cost now.
That's amazing.
And then
What is this? What is this made of?
well, this is loose. This is ceramic stuff.
Oh.
This is lucite, and it had just been invented. And Mr. Swenson had the toilet seat, and it's made out of lucite. This is a Spanish mission type style window he had put in here, and it's original, and the wallpaper. That's why we call it the pink flamingo bathroom.
You gotta wonder when people are designing bathrooms with this kind of wallpaper, what they're thinking about.
I would put this wallpaper in.
I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. It's different.
It's amazing that the color has stayed this
Yeah.
long. He had his 2 younger sisters used this bedroom for a short time after he moved out and then came back. And then down here we have another bedroom, and Evelyn, one of the sisters, lived in it. But as we walk by, I want you to notice this wallpaper. It's original to the house. It has a finish on it. You can touch it and feel it. And this room is all decorated. Would you like me to turn the light on?
No, I think actually we're okay.
And Evelyn used this bedroom. It has a built-in, and it's something you might have noticed when we were going upstairs and right around to look out the back patio, there were these bench seats under the windows. There's a long bench seat under that one, also in a built-in bookcase. Mr. Swenson has lots and lots of storage built in this house when he did it.
Which I assume wasn't really something that happened a lot.
It wasn't common, and the closets are large. And back then, you would think a broom closet, 1 or 2 sets of clothes, but the closets are large and they have hangings for both sides.
Oh, wow.
What's the little door?
That's the bookcase, I think, isn't it?
That's the bookcase.
It's a hiding spot. I bet playing hide and seek in this house would be crazy.
And then, of course, we have linen storage here, just a linen closet. This is the laundry chute I was telling you about. It goes all the way to the basement. And if we can get it open, they would drop the laundry down from upstairs, from the kitchen, and it would all go into the basement.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that was a long ways down.
is a long way down.
I could fit in. Yeah, probably.
This is the maid's room or the sewing room. The attic that the man came in to change the filter is up there.
So he was climbing in and out of that?
He climbed up there.
Oh, wow.
This is the shiplap. That's what I was going to show you. It's in the living room because we're having the wallpaper reproduced in the living room. It's really beautiful. This wallpaper stopped, and then this is the shiplap, and they just put the paper on it. They did the same with the ceiling. So we've had some of the tiles redone in the entryway in the foyer because it was just paper that had gotten wet and it was attached to the shiplap. So it has been redone.
That's awesome. That looks really cool like that too.
This is to get to the bathtub, the plumbing in this bathroom right over here,
Oh, wow.
so that you don't have to cut a hole in the wall. He put a door.
That was probably a good idea.
Mr. Swenson was a really smart guy. And I'll show you this bathroom. This is the yellow bathroom. And we had a problem getting plumbers. We can't get one to repair it because the plumbing mechanism to flush it is usually at the bottom, and these are inside, and so the water comes through the top of it instead of the bottom. So we can't find the correct pieces and everything to get them repaired, but they do work.
Somebody will have to build a piece.
And again, he has another loose side.
Oh, and this is another one with like all the shower heads.
Yes.
Wow.
And then this is the heat in the bathroom. That's your stove to warm the bathroom in the winter. And we're going to go to our left so we can go down the grand staircase.
Original.
This little lady right here used to be in the pond outside, but we didn't want anything to happen to her, so we brought her inside, so she stands up there. But she was in the pond.
What is it? Is it bronze or?
Yes.
Wow, that's awesome. Go ahead.
These are original rugs, and we have them for each room. During Halloween, though, we roll them up so that they don't get trampled on so much.
Keep walking all over them.
This is a little sitting room. And this is, we call it the piano room or the living room. There's a baby grand piano right here. And the wallpaper has been pulled down. It is on order. It came in. It was too pink. It has been sent back, but it has a beautiful scene on it with trees and leaves and candles. So,
Imagine that takes a long time.
we have fake logs in the fireplace. We push a button. That's something interesting about Mr. Swenson bringing electricity. Most of the light switches in this house, if they haven't been redone, he had these push button switches like this. And he had them installed on copper plates all through the house. And this part over here before the house was renovated was a nursery. And then we have books in that cabinet right there.
Oh, and you can see the wallpaper from the nursery. Kind of back there, there's a little nursery rhyme and girls playing merry-go-round.
Oh, wow.
Had you not seen that, Tina? No.
Is that glass original to the house as well?
I believe it is because it matches the front
Right.
windows that you can't really see right now, but.
And this is the last room in the house. I'll show you this one. This was the patio, and what they did was they closed it in when they did the remodeling in 1928. The house was re-inspected and leveled and made sure that everything was in balance in about 2005 to 2007. But if you'll notice right here, when you look at it, this slants down, but it is level now. So it's a curious thing to look at. But you may not notice it unless, it's pointed out to you. And again, you have storage in here. It's just right under these. We have more storage. We have it by the front door, and we have storage here.
This is a cool room. I like the tile. That's okay. So, you said people can rent the Swenson House for events and things. How does that work?
Okay, we have contracts. You can rent it. It's a $250 deposit, $125 an hour. We have someone that'll come in and do the dishes and clean it up and everything. When you're finished, there's an attendant here the whole time during the party you have. We do weddings, baby showers, bridal showers, sorority events, office parties, club parties. We do all kinds of things outside and inside the house.
That's awesome. And you guys do regular tours like the one you just gave us?
We do tours. Our tours are $15 a person.
Awesome.
And some tours last an hour and some can last a little bit longer. Depends on how much information you want to learn.
Wow. You just keep all that up here?
A lot of it is all up here.
Awesome.
We do have a video that you can watch when you get here that takes about 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
That has a lot of the history.
Well, that's awesome. And so is a lot of times these historical places are a part of like a group of historical things, or is this one on its own? Or
this is on its own. It's the Swenson House Historical Society. It separated from the Preservation League in 2018, and we have our own charter or whatever to be the Historic Society. So we have a lot of events each year. We just had one for, I'm trying to think, it was in September.
The mystery dinner?
We had 3 murder mystery dinners.
Oh, that's super cool.
And we had a Tolkien party. And we have a Calf Fest in the spring. And the Tolkien party and the Calf Fest are free to the public. They're open to the public. And we have vendors here. We have our house is open at Christmas. You can pay to come in and tour it. We have Christmas trees in every room. They're all decorated differently. And we have a really tall one that's at least 12 feet tall that goes right here. And then we've done some hot dog socials for the community. And we try to do a lot of community activities.
Well, it sounds like it.
Yes, we like schools to come and see us too.
I know, so I said I'd never been here, but then as we started to walk around, I started to get this memory of when I was in elementary school, I think. And I think our school came here because I remember the ice chute thing, the ice door. And so I remember doing that, and it's just been a long time since I've seen this place. It's really cool.
So it brought back memories. That's great.
Yeah, it was fun. Well, we appreciate you letting us use this. And if anybody wanted to get a hold of you, how would they do that to be able to rent it or tour or whatever?
We have a website under Swenson House. And also we have phone numbers in the website on the front door. It's posted. We do not keep someone here during the day, usually. But they can call that number or go on the website or Facebook, and we also have an Instagram account.
Oh, awesome. And what is the Instagram account called? Is it just Swenson House?
I believe it's Swenson House. It's just probably under Swenson House.
Okay. Well, we'll find it. We'll make sure we post it as well. Well, thank you so much.
True stories about saving lives from the people that save them. This is EMTalk. EMTalk is sponsored by Texas EMS School. Join Juddson Smith again next time because the life he's saving could be yours.